So, Dan, all right. Hi, everybody. I'm Rihanna Starr. I'm the host of the Unstoppable Real Estate Investor podcast, and we have Dan Toback as our guest today. I'm thrilled to see you, another southeastern U.S. person, Florida. So, Dan, thanks for taking time to come on the podcast with me.
Yeah, thank you, Rihanna. It's a pleasure to be with you guys today, and hopefully we could have an awesome program today.
So, I'm just curious, trying to stay out of my little sunbeams. Tell me a little bit about what you were doing before the real estate bug bit you,
Yeah,
professionally
absolutely.
and in your
So,
life. Yeah.
yeah, I graduated from a small Christian school actually here in Florida, and coming out of college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was sort of a person without a lot of direction. I had a general business degree, but I didn't really have any specifications or anything like that. I just knew I'd have to get a job after college because everyone else does it. So I ended up getting a job offer out of Denver, Colorado, and I love Colorado. Super fun place. If you've ever been there, I recommend it for vacation, not to move there for a job. But the job ended up not being a great fit. Some great people I met, but the job, I just wasn't good at it. It was in corporate, so it just didn't fit my personality. And I knew it was time for a change. I just didn't know what that change was. So, you can say, hey, I'm not happy with life, but if you don't know what to change, it's going to be an uphill climb. So, my brother at the time, Tom Kroll, he was doing real estate already out in Florida, in Port St. Lucie. And he just started it up, ironically. He did a few deals. He knew it worked, but he was really already wanting to hire. So he wanted to hire an acquisition specialist at the time. He already knew that he had a proof of concept. He was getting deals under contract. And he asked me, hey, Dan, you're not a big fan of the job out there in Colorado. Would you want to move back out to Florida? And I was going to be newlywed at the time and help me with the real estate business. So I was so desperate to get out of the job. I was worried about having no salary, but I said, okay, I have 3 weeks of vacation pay that I never took. I'll at least have a 21-day window to get it started up. So I rushed out there. I flew my wife. I drove the car, and we started this journey of real estate investing. So the first 6 months were hard. I didn't do many deals. I had to really relearn everything I knew about selling. And what I came to find, and this is my first nugget that I'll sort of drop today, is for the first 6 months, I was really, Rihanna, trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I was trying to learn to be this salesperson, when in reality, this business, real estate investing, is about the people. It's people, people, people.
Absolutely. People before profits. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when it comes to this, because it's such a sensitive topic, a lot of the people that I help, they're in really vulnerable situations. They've had life hit them, in a bad way. And what I've learned is that we're not so different, right, than the people that we serve. All it takes is one life event. And when I realized that and I started connecting with people at that level as more friends and more as that person who's in their corner,
Coming
the
at them with
built.
humanity and compassion and understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, and that changed, and the first year of the business, I was actually able to be slightly more profitable than my corporate job. And then every year after, it went up from there. And the more I started to adopt this, friendly neighborhood buyer, this local who buys houses, the more success I would ultimately have. And that's really what's helped sustain me here the last 10 years.
I'm curious, you said some good stuff there, like people before profits. I came across a post from a couple of days ago where they did this post about how they had helped someone, a woman, I think it was, and they didn't end up buying her house, but they helped her in a situation like a pre-foreclosure, some kind of, or a probate situation where the best solution for the woman was not for them to buy her house, but to help her keep it. And they did that because that was, for their values, helping the person find the best solution for them was their top priority. And they went on about how they did that, didn't think anything of it. And then, like a year later, somehow this woman shows up and tells them how much they changed her life. And they were just doing their thing, and how it brought tears to their eyes, how like it came back to them. And I think she ended up referring them to someone, and they did buy that person's house or something like that. But the point of the post had nothing to do with profits. It had to do with how surprised and how good they felt about how they helped this woman and how much it impacted her life.
Yeah, that's great. I couldn't agree more with that. And that's something that we preach to our team every day, is that sometimes the right answer is that we're not the right fit. And we point them in a better direction of what is, and I always say this to folks, if you're looking for the absolute best price, I'm probably not the right person to be talking with. Find a licensed real estate professional to put it on the market and to list it. Because if price is your ultimate concern, I can't fill that need. However, if you're looking for an easy, convenient sale, I can fill that need. So you have to become really, humble that you're not always the right answer, and when you're willing to admit
Not even
that,
it's humble, but this goes back to fundamentals marketing 101, knowing your ideal client avatar, knowing like what you offer, what you don't, not being a Jack or a Jill of all trades, but being very clear what your lane is,
right?
And mastering that lane, and not getting, shiny. Oh, let me get 3 lanes over and try that. I've heard of stories like one gal who is an expert in raising private money, Amy Majori McNichols. You've probably heard of her. And she's very candid about some of her big mistakes, which just basically wiped her out many, many years ago. And she had to start over because she went shiny object and went into a niche she knew nothing about, overextended herself, and it wiped her out. And she made good on all of the deals and everything, but it does help to know what your niche is. And so when you left the corporate job and you came to work for a buddy or a family member, what was it?
Yeah, Tom's my brother, so it'd be brother.
Your brother.
Yeah.
Did he make you a partner, or were you a worker bee? Was there a point where you got to have your own stuff? Talk about that. Because sometimes working for family can be difficult. If, it's one thing having it be a job, but when, talk about the circumstances around that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I've always described myself more as an entrepreneur, not quite an entrepreneur, and definitely not, the standard worker bee. I like that.
Yeah,
term.
You work better in partnerships.
Yeah, I work better in partnerships and overseeing an area that I'm really passionate about. So I'm really passionate about seller interactions, customer service, really delivering making sure our company is really strong. And I worked for Tom for several years, and it was over the director of sales. And I worked for actually my other brother, Todd Toback, for a few years. And I also oversaw sales. Now I'm with Jeremy and Michelle Beeland. So all 3 companies have been highly profitable in the black because, we have really good focus in each segment of the company. So I've always partnered with people who are really good at overseeing the money and the marketing, so that I could always oversee what I'm really passionate and, skilled at after 10 years of doing it, is the seller interactions, making sure that, that part of the business is sound, because ultimately every business in my mind is driven, yes, by marketing, but by acquisition.
By marketing and sales. Marketing is the heart of the business. Sales is the lungs, and operations is the brain. It's the backbone. It's the nervous system. You need all 3 of those. And usually entrepreneurs are weak in 1 or 2 of those areas, or all 3. If you're good at marketing and sales, the company's breathing, the heartbeat's pumping. But if operationally, the brains and the backbone, the nervous system isn't there, then it's going to be a mess. So you really need all 3 of those areas. So your specialty is sales and customer service. Do you, in all 3 of these opportunities, I get that was you were hired as a specialist, not with your first brother, Tom, you learned the business there, cut your teeth, but you found what you're passionate about, what you're good at. Was there ever a point where you got partnership or where you got to do your own deals, where you got to build your own portfolio? Where are you as far as you investing and you doing, like, where are you with your own investing?
Yeah, that's great. So I have a higher percentage of equity on deals that are what we call self-generated. So this is another little nugget that I'll drop to any person who's an owner of a company. If you have somebody, either acquisitions manager or just a regular salesperson, I highly recommend that you incentivize that person to have what's called self-generated leads. So if we're running a company together,
The other way of saying that is equity share or owner in the company in some way.
yeah, yeah, absolutely that. And particularly if that particular acquisition specialist is bringing their own opportunities to the table. So, for example, I do a lot of grassroots marketing, a lot of networking on my own accord, and those leads and those opportunities that I bring in, I have a higher equity percentage in those deals. So, what I would encourage every entrepreneur to do, I don't care what industry it is, but build out a plan with your sales team where yes, you have an agreement on deals and opportunities that you bring them through your own marketing, direct mail, pay per click, whatever, TV, whatever you're doing. And then have a second avenue to where you incentivize your people to go out and seek their own opportunities for a higher incentive. And that's what we've done for a while now. It's worked out really nicely.
So talk about, like, has that led to you acquiring, like, what's your focus in your own real estate investing? Like, we get that your skill set and what your expertise is sales, customer service, that interaction.
Yeah.
For you as an investor, just an investor yourself, where are you at? What are your plans for building a passive income or building your own portfolio? What's your focus? Is it multifamily? Is it single family? Is it buying notes? Are you just happy doing what you're doing and you're making enough money? Or is there a long-term plan? Like, what do you see for your future?
Sure. So yeah, great question. So what I would say is that for me personally, I would not want to be a landlord. It would not fit my personality to be a landlord, and I think it would actually detract away from what I do on the other side of the business. But what I do for passive income is hard money loans. So I loan
Okay.
out cash, and I do that multiple times a month. And I always have my cash invested in flips, either my own flips or colleagues of mine that know that I have cash
Okay, good for you. Yeah.
yeah, so I do a lot of hard money with my own personal, net worth allocation, things like that, and that's worked out really well for me, especially in my own backyard here in the Treasure Coast, an area that I know the deals and I know the value. I also have been part of a lot of bigger projects with putting cash into something like that.
Syndication.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
That's been a great way because I don't have to deal myself with tenants. I don't have to deal with those types of liabilities that would take my time away from meeting with sellers and being a manager at my team.
You know what I love about what this whole interview with you, Dan, and I want everyone to just pause here and listen to what I'm about to say. Know thyself. Like, Dan, you know where your superpowers are. You know yourself. You know what you enjoy doing, what you don't. You know what kind of investor you want to be and what you don't. We all automatically think passive income landlord, but you don't have to develop passive income that way. Another way of passive income, the ultimate investor passive income, is your money is making money for you. So as a real estate investor, a lot of us think buying rentals, an asset that generates income, that's a passive income. But when you can loan out your money and your money makes money for you, that is truly passive income. And Dan, you know yourself and look, I don't want the hassle of being a landlord. That is not how it's going to happen for me. So, for those of you who are newer investors and you're getting educated and you're getting coached, I want to just open up some room in your mind for you. Like I've worked for big corporate systems like Fortune Builders. I work with Cody Barton at Start Virtual. He's Pace Morby's partner. And just because you invest in a system and you learn how to do creative finance, sub-2, seller financing, wraps, novations, lease options, or you just learn traditional BRRRR, wholesale, rehab, buying rentals, don't get so pigeonholed into I've got to do what they're saying. There are so many creative ways to make money as a real estate investor. Like people buy notes. You're doing hard money lender, paying, buying into a syndication, doing house hacking. There's so many ways to make money at this. I remember going to see. I was doing a lot of research on tiny house builders, prehab builders, modular builders, because sustainability and developing micro community, cottage communities, tiny house villages, sustainability, affordable living. And I remember going down in South Carolina to see one of these builders, and he had he showed me his tiny houses, but he had these sheds, like those garden sheds you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, like
Yeah.
those sheds that are 10 by 12 or 10 by 10, 10 by 12.
Yeah.
And he said, see that little, 10 by 12, and he walks me over to, and he goes, I had a woman in Asheville where I live buy 50 of these for me at 10K a piece, fully decked out with a little kitchenette, a little bathroom, and just barely enough room for a bed and maybe a nightstand and a lamp. And they're glamping cabins. And because she bought so many, built out, they were 10K, like everything built out. And I'm like, oh my God. So here's this woman in Asheville who's got these 10 little glamping cabins that she paid 10K for. So for 500K, she's got 50 cabin rentals. Like, that's so creative.
Yeah.
When I was doing all my research on tiny houses, and it started out as a model of affordable housing. And back when tiny houses first came, I was looking at the price and they were 50, a good tiny house was 50 or 60K. It's like 3 times that now for the average tiny house. 120, 150K is average. So it's what I'm trying to say about all this, and I get off on tangents like I do, and is there's so many ways you can be creative and find what works for you. I've worked with people that we were going to talk about wholesaling, and then they just said, I don't want to wholesale. I'm like, hey, don't wholesale that.
Yeah.
I don't want to own, I've talked to guys that are super experienced, 20, 30 years in the field, who had all kind of rentals. And then they learned all about, carrying notes. And they're just like, I love that because I can have all these properties I carry notes on, but I'm not the landlord.
Yeah.
So in a way, I own the property. I'm still getting income from a property, but I'm not the guy who has to police the people. So anyway, I went off on a little tangent there. Anything you want to say about any of that, Dan?
No, I would just add, I think we're both kind of big fans of mastering what you feel you're passionate about. I would say this though, for those of you watching who may not think you can do this business because you might have a different personality type, use me as an example. I kind of came from that conservative corporate world, and I was able to make this business something that really works for me. I try not to put myself in deals that are super risky. You can do real estate and you can do REI without having real estate investing, without having to be super risky. There's a lot of ways to do that. Some of the things Rihanna said, some of the things you can do to kind of limit your exposure, a lot of different ways to structure things. So I would just not let that fear of risk deter you, because there's ways to make it less.
Do your research and then ask people like, where is your risk tolerance? I was just coaching a couple right before we came on, and they're, I don't know if you've read Rocket Fuel, but one of them is an integrator, the other one's the visionary. Of course, I'm taking her through a scaling process. So it's like, of course, the integrator's activity inventory is like categorized, and her list is 3 times the size of her visionary partners list. That's all one list, one list, and we were laughing, and she's the one stressing out. And I said, look, that's how you're hardwired. You're an analytical person. You need the details. It needs to be right. You need to be certain, or you're not going to be comfortable moving on. You can't be rushed. You've got to feel, and they're doing wholesaling because that works for them. They do some burrs for their rentals, but other than that, and they're doing what they want to do. And, she's feeling a little insecure about the scaling process because you've got to let go of some control to gain more freedom. So I want to talk about that a little bit in the businesses with your brothers and your friend, and where you're at is you've been parts in corporate, which is very process and oriented, but in these businesses, these 3 real estate businesses that you've been active in, talk a little bit about that, like the importance of developing processes and systems in order to be more efficient, scale easier. What do you, anything you want to say about that?
Sure. So, I think that for me, when it comes to systems, systems have to marry your core values, right? So for me, we definitely need systems. We need KPIs. We need things that are the standard for which we run our business and how we run our business. But we don't want to lose that theme that we have. And I just mentioned this on another podcast, friendly neighborhood buyer. So we want to be that neighborly buyer who buys homes. Because we're local, we know the area, we're going to get to know you. So we want to marry that with the systems so that we're never too corporate feeling. We don't want to be a big hedge fund who buys houses. We want to be a local operation.
You want to be your friendly neighborhood buyer. So when you develop processes, if you're going to delegate those processes to team members, you incorporate values in the process, like send thank you note. You make sure that it's woven into the process, the friendliness, the neighborly feeling.
Yeah, no, you're 100%.
How do you guys do that?
That's a great example.
Say leaves people feeling that you guys are friendly neighborhood buyers. Give us an example of that.
Great. Yeah. So what we do is, we'll use texting for an example. We don't really do mass texting, right? We think that's kind of cold. We don't do it. We've tried it, but what we do is we make sure that every seller, if we don't do business with them, is in some type of follow-up campaign. So that means texting them monthly. That could mean texting them also every other month. But whatever that is, that text message, the content's going to come off as local. So, hey, Rihanna, I understand if you remember me, I was at your house a month ago. I hope the family's well. It sounds like you're all set on the house, ? So we want that text, the content, to be very homey feeling, very intimate. Also, when it comes to our voicemails, right? If we're going to leave voicemails or drop voicemails, that voicemail is going to have our full name. Hey, we were at your house a couple of months ago. I hope everything's going well with your family, that you're doing well through the holidays. Did you end up selling the house, or do you still need help with that? So we want to make sure that the messaging isn't
casual, conversational, just checking in. Hey, neighbor. Yeah.
Sending a
picture. And a lot of that is just tone.
Yeah, absolutely. The tonality and the intentionality behind what we're sending. So that could be a little video of us. I tell my sales team, if a seller goes, send a video of yourself saying, hey, just hope life's okay. Hope you're doing okay.
Hey, so I just wanted you to see I'm a real person. You know? Hey, you know, it's Veterans Day on Saturday. If you're a veteran, thank you for serving, things like that. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It really helped us go a long way doing it that way.
I love it. So, mostly you're doing your passive income, as a hard money lender. and you're working on a team. So what do you've gone through 3 real estate investment teams. What would you say, like, is your specialty getting the whole sales process up and running and getting it streamlined, and then you're ready to move on to another project? Or do you feel like you found your long-term home? What's next for you? Where do you see yourself evolving?
Yeah, so right now we're continuing to build out our sales team here, and actually two markets, the New England area, which we're still going to be building out and fine tuning. And then Florida, we're continuing to add in more acquisition specialists. We're actually hiring, we're bringing somebody on now. I'm onboarding. We have a second application out. So we're continuing to build out the sales team in Florida. We're going to continue to dominate our own backyard. Because we always want to dominate our own backyard first and then grow from there. But we also have, I don't do much coaching, but we have a small little group, REI Freedom, on Facebook that is just a super group full of great people. It's, I think, up to almost 600 people now, but everyone's really active and supportive of each other. We've already had some students do their first deal and on appointments with very little budget. So building out that coaching program is something I'm really getting jazzed about. Students really seem to be responding well to it. We have our small group coaching that stems from that group as well. But REI Freedom is something that I'm working on with Jeremy and Michelle Beeland, and that's become something that has been really fun, teaching people how to build better rapport and how to do bigger deals, more deals, and have less cancellations because of that. So that's been really fun.
It might have been Jeremy Beeland that I was referring to about the post that they did about helping some lady.
Oh, at the gym.
They were at the gym. It was that post.
That was them. Yeah.
That's
great.
so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
What a small world. So are you focused mostly on when you talk about sales, are you focused mostly on wholesaling, or are they rehabbing too?
Both. I
Okay.
always hate to use the word wholesaling or rehabbing. I just love to put it all under one umbrella, real estate investing, because your strategy is going to depend, again, right? We came full circle in our conversation today, but risk tolerance, right? What you actually want to do. Some people really want to get their hands dirty on rehabs. I have a good friend here locally who does really great with that. Some people don't have the risk tolerance for that yet, or don't have it at all. So that'll be more of assignments, wholesaling. Sometimes it's in between, buy a home, then you just clean it out and put it right back on, kind of wholesale, right? Some people
yeah.
do that. So
wholesale or prehab, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we kind of mastered the front part even before that decision. We've mastered actually building rapport, connecting with sellers so that you can help them and then ultimately make that decision.
Building relationships, people first. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really what we get really invested.
So how many deals are you guys averaging in your Florida market? I know you're just building out New England. So tell us kind of what's the average, like how big's your team and how many deals are you guys averaging on a monthly basis closing?
Yeah, so New England, Jeremy and Shelley, they've been in that business for, I think, close to 5 years now. So they've been up in New England a while, and I'm assisting, and I'm the director up there now, helping grow that. But in Florida, right now we're averaging around, I want to say, between 5 to 7 deals consistently a month, with an average
closing and cashing checks.
Yep, over 32,000, probably 32.5 is our average profit. So, but between 5 and 7 deals a month, and that's in the Treasure Coast market. We've also brought in the Lakeland market a little bit. That's kind of new though. It's mostly the Treasure Coast. We're really focused in our backyard, and then that's a mix, some wholesale, but there's also a lot of deals we're actually buying and flipping, at least prehabbing, like you said. So we're doing that as well. And then our team is, just ignore that call. Our team is probably at this point between both markets around 12 people.
Between both markets, okay. And then up in New England, what kind of deal, or is the 5 to 7 closed both markets total?
No. So New England probably would be closer to 5 at this point because we've scaled back a little bit with the marketing expense there.
And you said your average fee or profit, whether it's a wholesale or a rehab, is 32.5.
32.5. Yep. And not necessarily wholesale. That could also be prehab, wholetailing or taking them down. Yeah. But about the average for both combined, 32.5.
So your average wholesale fee's 30K.
Yeah. Yep.
That's nice. So are you
Yeah.
going for a higher end market where there's a little more meat on the bones?
Um, yes and no. So like St. Lucie, Treasure Coast, I would say is too high end. It's probably middle of the road, but it's really how our strategy is. So we can evaluate a deal and we can see, hey, listen, if this deal is a good deal wholesale, we can make it a great deal by buying it ourselves. So we'll take those down, and that helps that average go higher. But then stuff that's wholesale, we still have a way to convert it. So that larger deal that we're doing, we're actually paying for it and then closing and selling it. That's bringing that average up. And then some of them are smaller, like in the teens.
So you're basically double closing.
Right. Double closing and then wholetailing, we'll hold it for at least 30 days.
You'll clean it up a little bit and then just turn around and sell it. That's a great strategy. I love it.
Yeah. It's low risk because you're not getting into the guts of the house.
Right. What's your long-term goal for you personally, you and your wife, your family? Like, where's the end point, the retirement point? Like, what do you see for you ultimately your future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we would definitely like to buy homes personally in other areas of the country, which we're working on. So that's something that we would like to do. Just have other homes that we can visit and things like that. Personally, though, continue to grow my hard money bandwidth, so that I have that passive income coming in. Because the hard money is truly, like you said earlier, passive. So continually growing that bandwidth. Potentially get into even some bigger deals, development deals, things like that. And that's all great stuff that stemmed from the real estate investing business. I wouldn't have known about that had I not started. And then also continue to build out our mentorship program, which has helped a lot of people already. We're just getting started. I mean, this is only like maybe a month or two in the making. So we've already helped so many people, continually giving out free content, things like that. But from a personal level, yeah, we're just, looking just to
what would you say your end game is, though? What do you have an end game where you see the happily ever after? Okay, I've reached the pinnacle of my success.
No, no.
Yeah, because you're still young and enjoying the game, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'll. That's a great question. I think it's a good one to contemplate. I don't think I personally believe in end game. I just believe in giving my best every day to my team, to my family, and then at the end result, at the end of my life, I'll trust the end result when it comes just by wanting to bring it every day. I think looking too much into the future, you take focus away from the today. And winning today is going to get you to win at life. So I'm too busy trying to dominate the day I'm in, and that when I get to that portion of my life, I'll trust my process was good all those days prior.
So retirement isn't even a word in your vocabulary right now.
No, no, I don't think
that.
about it. Almost not at all. I think about, some little personal goals my wife and I have, like with, fun goals, like certain vacations and trips and little fun things along the way. But in terms of like an ultimate goal, life is there's too many unknowns in life for that. I simply don't know. So what the end result will be interesting, and it'll be cool to see it when it comes. But I'm gonna be busy dominating today and tomorrow, and trying to be a good steward of that.
Love it, love that. Good for you. All right, so you talked a little bit about the mentorship program, the coaching program, who you're working with, is there anything else we haven't covered that you'd like to share that, like, God, if you were to jump up on a rooftop and you had advice to give to a captive audience and they were hanging on your every word, like, oh my God, this is the best advice ever, what would that advice be?
Yeah, so I would say personally is to find a deeper reason of why you do what you do. Dig deep within yourself and find out why you're doing the things that you're doing. And I have my spiritual beliefs and I have my core values that I have personally for Dan Toback, but I think every person needs to find out why they do what they do. So for example, if you're simply meeting with the seller because that's your job and that's how you make your money, that is going to limit you and inhibit you from really serving that person in that same room with you to the fullest of your ability. So a better way to look at it is, I serve my sellers because, life is short and I want people to know that I treated other people well. And I wanted my daughters to know that I treat people well. And I want my family to be proud of how I treat others and how I invest in others, right? So you want to find out a more intrinsic reason of why you do what you do and why you do the things that you don't do, or you don't do the things that you don't do. So once you reach that and you find out your why behind your motives, then you can truly invest deeper into that and have that core values that help guide you every day. If it's simply about, a momentary or fleeting want or need, you can make decisions that are fleeting and that don't have that long-term impact. So my advice would be is to find that internal why, what really drives you. And it's going to be greater than money. It's going to be greater than, putting food on the table. It has to be deeper than that. And only you could answer that, the person that is contemplating that decision. So that would be the one thing.
I love it. I love it. Anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No, I thought this was awesome, Brianna. I appreciate you having me on. This was fun. I think it was a really cool discussion. And, the one thing would be that, again, I know I said it once before, but if you feel like this business isn't for you, just know there's a lot of things in real estate investing and as an investor that you can do. It doesn't look the same for everyone. A lot of different personalities I know do well, a lot of different strategies with different people that do well. There's a lot, it's a broad spectrum of success in here. So make sure that you find that success for you. And then again, if you guys are interested in getting more content from me, we have a Facebook group called REI Freedom. And one thing I'll do, I don't even think I discussed this with Rihanna, and I hope this is okay, but for anyone who drops the word unstoppable to us when they're signing up for our small group coaching, we will honor a 15% discount. So for your
all right, do you do affiliates? Sign me up as an affiliate first.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that. And since we couldn't go live, we have time. But if in a DM or an email you want to sign me up as an affiliate and you want to be actively in my group, leveraging my group to support your group, I'm okay with that.
Perfect.
And we can set up an affiliate and then you can promote comfortably without any guilt in my group because you always use my affiliate link and I'm fine with that.
I'll have you set that up ASAP, Brianna. I'd love to. I'll have you and Jeremy connect on that ASAP so you guys can
I'd love that.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so, Dan, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. And so I have one more question, where in your real estate journey did you learn how to get such awesome arms? Give us an arm, kind of strike a pose, dude.
There you go.
I freaking love those biceps. Let's see the other one.
There you go.
I love it. Nice. Hey, thanks so much. And let's stay in touch and let's follow up on the affiliate thing. All right. So when I post this, I might not post it edited. I might just post it raw like we did.
Yeah.
When I post it, go ahead and look for the post and put a link. Once we get the affiliate set up, let's get that set up right away. And then you guys go ahead and post my affiliate link. Hey, look, 15% off if you want to join our little group, and feel free. And if you have things of value that are going to help people in general, where you're not always pitching and promoting, but it's just helpful value add, contributing to the community, there's no reason our two communities can't mutually support each other. So
of course, I love that. It would be great. More than happy to work with you. And I will have Jeremy reach out to you about setting that up ASAP.
All right. That sounds good. Thanks,
Cool.
Dan, so much. I appreciate you sharing your perspective and sharing your unique way that you're working in real estate and thriving and succeeding. That's one of the reasons I do this podcast, is so people can see there is just so many unique ways that you can be successful as a real estate investor. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Dan. Now, guys, go out there, take action. No more excuses. Go get results. Thanks. Bye, Dan.
Thank-
Thanks.
Bye.